got laid off again. And I told myself, I'm like, you know what? You got 13 years of experience. You got all this schooling behind you. I'm like, what's stopping you? Like, go try something on your own. And I jumped.
Welcome to the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, the original food service equipment repair podcast built by technicians for technicians. Whether you're on the front lines of repair, keeping the kitchen running smoothly, or just passionate about the food service repair industry, this podcast is your go-to source for expert insight, tech tips, and real stories from the field. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. I'm your host, Pat Finley, and tonight I am joined by Dominic with ESG. But first, if you're working in commercial kitchens, you already know grease gets everywhere, and especially in coils. That's where Viper Coil Cleaner comes in. Viper's non-corrosive, technician-safe formulas are designed to cut through heavy buildup without damaging the equipment you're trying to protect. No harsh acids, no unnecessary risk, just powerful, effective cleaning that keeps systems running the way they should. If you service restaurant equipment, make sure Viper is on your truck. So what is going on, Dominic? We talked at HR a couple times. We ran into each other at the Tactical Awards, then in the Ambro booth. I think I've seen you more than I've seen anybody else probably the entire show.
I got it.
So what's going on, man?
What's going on, guys?
Just living the dream down here in San Antonio, teaching for a couple of weeks. I'm coming to you live from a hotel room. I was kind of worried about the internet connection. I had to pay for the better internet, and it was like 10 times better. So hopefully it works out.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. Yeah.
So we hung out a little bit at the Tactical and HR several times on and off, and wanted to have you come on. I was excited about your podcast where you educate your customers.
Mm-hmm.
You're going on some refrigeration work and some other stuff. So I was like, what better thing to have you on and talk about it?
Yeah, so funny story today. I was actually in a commercial kitchen. We were working in a hotel here in New Jersey. And I'm like, you know what's so funny? I'm going to be on the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles show tonight. And I'm working in a commercial kitchen, which only happens maybe twice, 3 times a month.
That's cool. That's cool, man. There's a lot of money in kitchens, dude. People leave that behind. They think it's nasty, dirty. Man, and there's a lot of money they're leaving on the table.
Yes, there is. I actually have a question for you. I was here today, and the guy's asking me about replacing all of his gaskets on his doors. Is
Uh-huh.
there a good spot to like outsource the gaskets or anything like that?
So you can go back to OEM, or you can get on. There's some aftermarket companies that make gaskets, RHS Parts. You can
Hmm.
kind of match them up, and they make aftermarket gaskets any size, any type, any material. So you can either go OEM or you can go back with an aftermarket one that's just as good. So it's kind of your choice. I can get you some information later on about it.
Yeah, awesome. So anyway, I'll give you a little background story about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm 27 now. My father got me into the industry when I was around, I've been in the industry since I was a little kid. But I officially started taking interest upon this when I was like 15 years old in high school. My dad really pushed the trades on me. He
Mm-hmm.
is an HVAC guy. So he's like, "You're not going to college, you're going to trade school, buddy." And I'm like, well, there's a lot of kids that are lost and don't know what they want to do with themselves. I'm like, what do I got to lose? I'm not very good sitting at a desk, and I'm not very good at learning too well. So I'll go work with my hands.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. That's me, man. I couldn't sit in school anymore. The only reason I tell everybody this, the only reason I graduated high school is because I took a vocational program my junior and senior year. So half the day I was, doing electrical work. So it really wasn't like, I don't have to go to school for 2 hours a day pretty much at that point. And I enjoyed doing it. And I actually came out as an electrician for a while before I started doing this. So that was my saving grace, man.
Yeah. How long have you been doing HVAC?
So I've been doing the commercial kitchen stuff I'm coming up on 20 years in May. I've been doing
Nice.
refrigeration HVAC for 17 years of it.
Very nice. So anyway, I started when I was 15. I went to trade school. I graduated trade school out of high school, and I got into a small residential company, and I absolutely loved it.
Nice.
I was waking up at 6 a.m., jumping out of bed before my alarm rang. For some reason, there was something about it. I call me crazy, but crawling in a dirty little crawl space at 7 a.m. There was just something about it that got me out of bed. So it started there. And I tell my dad every day, I'm like, I love this stuff. I love this stuff. He's seen like the passion that I had
Hmm.
for it in me. And from there, I ended up actually pursuing a trade college. I went to the University of Northwestern Ohio. Shout out to them. They gave me a fantastic technical education along with a college education kind of couple.
I've heard of someone else I knew went there. I'm trying to think who it was. 'Cause that's the second time I've heard that about that school. I have to think now because someone else has been a guest that went to that school. I have to figure it out.
So, anyway, that school, for what I know, is like one of the best technical college, and there's not many out there.
That's what I
But
heard. That's what I heard.
yeah, and it's one of the best technical colleges that this country pretty much has to offer. And I went there for 2 years, and I had the most amazing experience that a college kid could ever go through.
That's cool.
So I left there, and I got into the field. My neighbor Jim was doing commercial refrigeration. So he's like, hey, he had a serious sit down with me. He's like, listen, I'm going to vouch for you. I know you as a young, dumb kid. He's like, but I do see you growing, and I know you want to pursue a career in this. So if you want, I could vouch for you, and I can get you as an entry level position as an apprentice, as a pipe fitter.
Nice.
So I looked into it. I really didn't know what that was all about. I ended up getting into it. I started working on supermarkets like Walmart, Sam's Club, ShopRites, bunch of different supermarkets, and I was working on rack refrigeration. So if you know anything about rack refrigeration, there's multiple different rack houses. These racks consist of 7 to 8 compressors. You have large condensers with, 8 to 16 fans, something like that. And if you want to learn the refrigeration cycle, do commercial refrigeration, because once you get down to the residential level, it's like child's play.
Yeah, that's what everyone says. Like rack refrigeration just teaches you so much. And I follow a lot of great rack techs, and I always show interest in it. But I'm like, man, I don't want to start over and go learn racks. I mean, I don't want to start at the bottom. And I guess that's just my own ego at this point. But um, it looks super interesting and super fun. But you hear the horror stories of working a million hours in the summer. You're there until it's running. I mean, I think it's bad in a restaurant. Having $10,000 or $20,000 worth of product in a freezer or cooler. I couldn't imagine having a grocery store.
$1 million worth of
Yeah,
product.
yeah, you got a rack and millions of dollars of products relying on it to get fixed. It's like, oh crap. I mean, so that's pretty intense and high demand.
It is intense and it is high demand. I do vouch for that. One time I pulled a triple shift, right? This involved a lot of Red Bull. We were doing a rack, we were doing a gas exchange. So that's when you take the older style gases and you switch over to the newer style gas.
Hmm.
And we were up all night. We were doing the gas exchange. It's all a time process because you have millions of dollars worth of product on the line. So you basically have to drain the system of the gas. You have like a third party come out. We had rapid recovery out here. They bring the trucks, they suck the racks clean of the R22 at the time. And then you go around, you're switching gaskets, all the Schraders in these systems. You're talking more than hundreds of Schrader ports that you can't miss one. And you have to go around, switch every single one of them. And you got to exchange the gas and then change it over. I think we were doing like 407, something like that. Um, yeah, so that was like very exciting, high demand, like you were saying. You're up all night, crazy hours. And then my one boss at the time, he's like, I like go to lay down after like a double, and he's like, Dominic. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I need you to go down and I need you to go down to wherever he was saying. It was like I think it was what's below me. It's drawing a blank. He's like, I need you to go down to Maryland, Dominic. I need you to go pick up pipe and drive down to Maryland and help Anthony with this, that, and whatever else. Like, all right, I'm a young buck. I'm like, I'm trying to prove myself here.
Oh yeah, so you
I'm
don't say no to anything.
I'm like, I got you, Gary. I'm on the road now. And then that was the start of my first triple shift. So anyway, once I was in the field doing rack refrigeration for approximately 4 years. I was in the unions. The unions are very big up here in New Jersey, New York, and stuff like that.
Yep.
They have a lot of power. There's a lot of politics involved. And I think I got laid off and I went to another company
Hmm.
and I was working there for a little bit and then I was kind of tired of it and I was like losing my love for the trade. So I took about a 6 month break from that. And I was like trying to do carpentry or something ridiculous after 9 years of doing HVAC. And one day I'm like cutting this piece of wood, and then my boss was like, "This isn't right. I'm paying you way too much, this and that." And I dropped the tools and I thought to myself, I'm like, why did I just put 9 years towards something and then try something else? I'm like, I'm going back to it. So that's when I hopped into the light commercial residential stage and I worked for a non-union company and I fell completely back in love with it. So that's kind of like my origin story. After that, I worked there for another 3 years, fell back in love with the trade. I got laid off again. And I told myself, I'm like, you know what? You got 13 years of experience. You got all this schooling behind you. I'm like, what's stopping you? Like, go try something on your own. And I jumped.
So how long have you been in business for yourself then?
Officially a year and 4 months now.
Nice, nice. That's cool. That's cool. That's awesome, man. My co-host Rich, he went out on his own. It'll be 2 years, April 1st. It's kind of ironic that he quit his job and started a business on April 1st, but
That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it's cool to see people take that leap and do something on their own. Not everybody can do it. A lot of people can fix stuff, but they can't run a business. It's two totally different things. They just happen to go hand in hand, side by side. So,
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up, and I firmly believe in that. We are tradesmen, right?
mhm.
I most times tradesmen who want to start their own businesses, they lack in the business aspect, and that's where I firmly believe either A, educate yourself fully so you
Mhm.
understand how to become a responsible business owner, or B, you hire somebody to do that kind of stuff for you, right?
Yeah, if you
So
make enough money to have someone run the business for you already, you're doing pretty good.
you know what I'm saying? So it all has to do, and I preach this over and over and over again. It all has to do with properly educating yourself in whatever endeavor you're taking on, right?
Mhm.
So I really didn't go into it like blind. I really did a lot of research beforehand. I've spent a lot of money on myself when it comes to personal business coaching. I've had some of the best in the industry. I've had personal conversations with. They've inspired me. I pay attention to a lot of YouTube. What do I call them? I call them YouTube mentors, right? And I pay a lot of attention to that kind of stuff, especially when it comes to running a home service business or a
Mhm.
commercial business, right? It's very important to take care of the customer. In my point of view, there's two very important pupils when it comes to running a business. It's your customer and your technician. And I firmly believe in that. So it inspired me.
I'm excited to see someone, start a business, and you put a lot of emphasis on building those relationships with the customers, building that trust, and doing what's right by the customer. And that's cool to see because we've all heard horror stories of people dealing with customers getting hosed or companies just pushing sales, sales, sales. And I mean, I don't really agree with that. I mean, I'm sure you don't. After some of the conversations I've seen you have about building those relationships. So, what made you decide that you're gonna put the customer first and build those relationships, and everything else will just fall into place?
So this is something that I've personally seen and I'm very passionate about.
Hmm.
Our industry is very large and it's growing massively. Anyway, like I was saying, where this is very important to me and it comes to the customer, um, I feel like our what we do for a living is growing massively. It's very inspiring. I'm seeing a lot of young people being inspired every single day by our trades and stuff like that,
Hmm.
especially with AI coming into play and where people going to play when it comes to society and stuff like that. And I love that. I feel like private equity is taking a stance in this business, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, right? I think that when you bring into funding into these businesses, you lose that personal touch with your customer. I think too much corporations involved, and that's why I think personally, me and what we're doing here is going to skyrocket because we're keeping it all in house, right? Where I'm not looking for funding. My one business coach told it to me like this. He's like, "Why would you go get funding when you can pull it all up yourself in this type of business, right? To
Hmm.
to fuel your fire." Um, and I totally agree with his statement. I think that these companies are starting to lose their touch, and that's why you see customers getting hosed and all this other stuff done dirty. There's a lot of information that is missed. um, I take pride in really making my customer feel like family. I take pride in having my customer have the comfort feeling like they can call me or all my technicians at 10 o'clock at night when they need you the most. Um, and then it all has to do with educating your customer to the best of your possible ability, right? These guys aren't going to take your job. Okay.
Hmm.
We know this industry. We know what's wrong with your furnace or whatever you have, your boiler, anything like that. There's no issue when it comes to explaining to your customer what is wrong with their house and how you should go about fixing it, right? That or
Yep.
your commercial customers. I preach this to my commercial customers as well. I tell them, I'm like, guys, you don't know this, but your simple investment in your PMs, your maintenances, is your most important thing that you should be doing, especially when you have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment on your building,
Yep.
right? And it also makes your job easier as a technician, as a
Hmm.
business owner, because I feel like sometimes when I take over buildings under my contract, I feel like, okay, we're turning a new leaf now. Okay. No more of that BS that everybody's been blowing smoke and all that other stuff. We're going to start with a plan, right? Most of the times we walk into places that are a complete catastrophe. That's when you have to sit down the manager or the owner and you have to tell them, this is what's been going wrong, this is why, and this is how we're going to move forward step by step. What's up, brother? We got someone else here.
Yeah, we got
What's going
Jason.
on? What's going on?
He
What's
finally
up, brother?
he finally fought traffic and made it.
Yeah, sorry about the late show up, man.
All good.
Sweet. Well,
All
we've had plenty of technical difficulties. I glitched out for a while. Had to
I
kick in
glitched
twice.
out. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're good. It's like you're just popping in with us.
It's hotel
Yeah,
internet.
I just got home. I just jumped on. I don't have any of my equipment. I just got home. I wanted to jump on and support. Yeah, I got to get new headphones and a lot of my gear I have to get new.
All good.
Nice, nice. So, you talk about explaining to the customer. I mean, a lot of times customers don't realize, that PMs actually save them all kinds of money. You can catch a simple problem before it becomes a humongous problem. You catch in the case of a rooftop unit or some comfort cooling. I mean, you catch it before something freezes. You're in the Northeast, it gets cold there. Water lines can freeze. You can catch that ahead of time. Systems running rough, or you're down a stage, your belt's slipping. I mean, there's all kinds of things you catch that can prevent bigger problems. And most customers don't understand, or they've been taken advantage of by, big companies that push sales, and they have trust issues.
That's their thing. And I completely understand it from a business standpoint when it comes to pushing sales. But there is a point where it's like, guys, it's way too much, right?
Hmm.
I think that I think that we're coming to a time where that pushy sales guy is being pushed out, right? And you see a lot of big contracts that I personally, as a small company, have been taking on now. There's like a wholesome feeling when it comes to dealing with a guy like me or guys like you who just, this is what it is. This is the truth. And, go about with the information that I've given you. Do your own research. I don't need you to trust my word. What I'm saying is factual, and you could look it up,
I can find enough work on any location to keep myself busy and to save the
for
customer money.
months.
Yeah, without being pushy, without doing dumb stuff, or without being, something that's unethical or that can seem creepy, by selling stuff. I mean, there's plenty of work out there, and people just got to look for it instead of taking easy ways to try to make a quick buck, I think.
That's what it's about nowadays with some of these companies, and I totally do not condone it. I actually spoke about this in a recent episode of my podcast about the question was, how can you tell when a salesperson is being too pushy? And at the end of the day, and I'm speaking to the customer right now, guys, you get that natural feeling when it's not wholesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
When someone's being fake or not, it's just not real. You get that feeling, and right in that moment, you should switch over your thought process and say, is my best interest in that guy's head? Is it? Ask yourself that, right? Um, but that's how I feel about it. I'm very passionate about it, and I don't want to go ahead and say something that I shouldn't right now.
Well,
But
Dominic,
it
let me
really
ask you,
it grinds
what
my
do you,
gears.
Dominic, what do you do to put your current and potential customers at ease when it comes to selling? Do you give them, like for me, I've dealt with PMs on the service side and then on as a customer on the end user. And at the end of the day, everyone's offering PMs, everyone's offering different products and sales. And I gotten to the point where if I'm going with who can verify what they do, because you can have your favorite service provider, but you can trust them. But if you can't verify what they're doing, it's a little downhill from there. I'll even pay a little bit more if maybe they'll also include some sort of verification like AI or photos and things like that, just to show that the work was completed. Because I teach my stores to do walkthroughs monthly or quarterly, open up the units, verify the filters have dates and address dates and initials on them. Look at your PM, look what you're being charged. Do technical audits of your invoices and actually verify what you're doing. I mean, once everyone loves to get in the door and give their speech and give their spiel, but at the end of the day, there's so many players out there that it's a play on words, right? Service providers being a bunch of players, that you got to pick somebody, you got to go with somebody. But for me, it's whoever can verify their work. The more transparent you are, the more comfortable I feel about what you're doing, because the sales guy who comes in isn't a technician half the time. I got my buddy David Jones. He's an amazing salesperson, and and whatnot, and people trust him. But he puts his name and what he's saying behind the product he believes in, which are the technicians at the company he works at. So I always say, if you can verify what you're doing, that puts people's mind to ease in a lot of situations, and they'll even pay a little bit more if you can verify. I'll pay more over I'll pay more over the lowest bidder to get verification of the work being done correctly.
Okay, so I completely and utterly agree with everything you just said. And here's my stance on it, right? When I go to the customer and they see these big fancy billboards that say maintenance $55, this and that, whatever else.
Yeah,
Okay,
BS.
sure, you're paying $55, but what are you getting for your $55? Because I'll tell you this, my maintenance is $225, but I can tell
Wow,
you
nice.
verbatim what I'm giving you with that maintenance. You're getting an in-depth coil cleaning. I'm talking residential right now, and
Hmm.
commercial, it's kind of the same go about, but it's a different price range, obviously. But you're getting an in-depth coil cleaning. I'm breaking down your whole entire condenser, and I'm cleaning every single square inch of that coil. You're getting your drains blown out, right? You're getting all your drains cleared, clean with a seal of approval saying, guys, this season your drain is clear. Unless a crazy big bug climbs in that drain and clogs it up, you're pretty much good to go, right?
Yeah.
You're getting your filters changed. I'm bringing filters to you and I'm personally changing them and writing a date on it so that I know that I changed it on this date because I'm in charge of your system. right? Amongst other things in the maintenance agreement, but you know what I'm saying? Like there is something you're paying for a service, and I am absolutely giving you the red carpet service that you are paying for, right?
Yeah.
You know, you see these big fancy cheap deals for $55. You know, unfortunately, most of the time it's a guy coming over and he's gonna kick your can and try to give you something. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that type of guy. I'm charging you upfront. Everything is upfront personal. I'm telling you exactly what we're going to do. I'm giving you my time, which is a lot, and we're going to give you the best service. I'm going to give it a clean bill of health, and then we go about our days, and I'll see you in a couple months. You know what I'm saying? But to me, it's more important to charge the customer appropriately and give them the proper service, right? In my opinion, most companies they come in and they don't even do a coil cleaning, right? The coils, when it comes to air conditioning or heating in some cases, are the most important uh, thing when it comes to heat transfer, right?
Yep.
This saves you money in energy bills, electric, and whatever else it does. It's saving you money at the end of the day. You might be paying me my service fee, but at the end of the day, you're saving countless dollars every month. You're within those seasons. So that's kind of my standpoint on it, right? I'm very upfront with it. And then once I'm done with my service, I give the customer a breakdown and an education on their system. I don't leave them with no idea what just happened. Once I'm done with my service, I'm like, do you mind doing a walkthrough with me? Okay. And I'll go over exactly what was done. What I see may go bad in the future, right? If you have a 15-year-old system, you're probably going to come across a couple parts that are potentially bad or going to break in the future. I'm a seasoned technician, so I could tell you when your contactor is going to go bad. I can tell you when your
Yeah.
capacitor is about to pop. You know what I'm saying? I don't, but here's my thing. I'm not there to sell anything, right? I'm there to do my service. You know, I'm getting paid for the service. I'm not getting paid to go give you a song and a dance and to sell you something, right? So I'll properly educate the customer at the end of my whole entire service, and you know, it's just a very clean and clear process. I tell them I'm not your cheapest guy, I'm not your most expensive guy, but I'm the guy that's right for the job. And that's kind of what I stand on, and why I see so much success in these young stages of what I'm doing right now. It's more of a movement because I've seen what bigger box companies are doing, and I really just don't like their style, you know?
Yeah. I don't understand why people's. I'm not sure if it's just lack of education about the economy. I'm not sure what makes people think that a $50, even an $80 or $99 job, they're going to come out here. The cost of fuel, the cost of insurance on that technician, the cost of the overhead, the program they're using in a lot of situations, especially the big box companies, to come out here and say, we're going to give you this free 150-point inspection. Like, no, it's always BS. I would appreciate the professional courtesy of someone being honest and saying, hey, this is what it is. This is what it costs. Not only am I going to do a great job, I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to educate you on it. I'm going to give you some sort of craftsmanship warranty if I have to change anything out, but I'll be upfront, you know? And yet people still fall for the, it's $50 to $100 free inspection. Nothing in life is free. The economy's not going in that direction. It never has. The cost of the trades and living and fuel and the economy has all risen, and it's not slowing down. So, yeah, I could appreciate you being honest like that. If few and far in between with people doing that, I could definitely appreciate that, man. Right on with that. What kind of warranty do you give on craftsmanship and stuff like that?
Okay, are you talking about on install?
Either one. You just mentioned. I'm sorry, I stepped in a little late. I'm a commercial guy and never did residential. I just heard you mention residential, so I don't know if it's a different animal.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I do both. So I do
Okay.
residential. I honestly, I'll just give you a little background information since you're stepping in late.
Hmm.
I come from, my customer base is 50%, actually, excuse me, it's 45% commercial, it's 45% residential, and then I have that 10% in refrigeration, right? I have a very heavy refrigeration background. Um, I personally see more business and success in the commercial space and the residential space. So we've been heightening our focus on that. I would absolutely love to take on more refrigeration work, but that takes a whole different technician and a whole different set of tools. So we're slowly working on that. I personally handle the refrigeration stuff. But when it comes to residential or light commercial, it's all circumstantial, right? If I have a customer who hasn't been taking care of his building for the past 25 years and all of his equipment's falling apart and stuff, the best I can personally do is explain to him that and
Yeah.
kind of give him a roadmap of how we're going to make your situation better. Right. So I don't go there and do your commercial maintenance and I'm like, listen, I'm back in this machine for the next year and a half. I'm sorry, it's just not happening.
It's not
Um,
feasible. It's
it's
not
not
smart either.
feasible. Right. But it all comes back to honesty, right? You
Yeah.
want to properly, and then he'll say why. And then I'll give you, it's all about how educated you are in your field and um, how you properly articulate to the customer what you're trying to explain in the system in
Yeah.
layman's terms, because they're not technicians like us, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically that. I really don't give a much of a warranty when it comes to service. When it comes to install, warranties are fantastic, right? That's a huge selling point to a lot of customers. So a warranty for a customer who's getting a fresh install, they get their parts warranty that's given to us by the supplier, and then
Yeah.
they get it could be a 2 to 5 year labor warranty, depending, right? So that's kind of how I run that kind of stuff. Other than that, that's really it. I mean, it all comes down to properly explaining to the customer what they have going on in their personal scenario, because as you know, all scenarios are different, right?
Absolutely.
That's a good point. And I think, most people, these companies, with these $55, $60 PMs or whatever, I mean, they're just relying on the customers. I hate to say it, ignorance or doesn't understand, and they're just preying on people. I mean, it's sad to say, but I think it's what it is, honestly.
Well, you know what, Pat, and I'll tell you this. That's a great point, because guys like us who value truth and honesty in the next upcoming years, once the bubble of what we were talking about earlier, the private equity and the way those companies are ran, once that bubble pops, we're gonna shine, right?
Hmm.
The right thing will shine through eventually, and that's where we'll get our flowers,
Yeah, I've known guys that work for private equity in the home space, and they find something wrong. If it's more than something stupid and basic, they call in a comfort advisor, and the guy just shows up. I'm like, how are you just gonna be working at someone's house and some random guy shows up to start selling them stuff? I'm like, that's wild.
The
It's
closer.
I'm like, what is that, man? I'm like, dude, if you were working at my house and some random dude came in and tried to sell me stuff, I'd be like, you both just kick rocks and get out of here.
yeah, I'd be like, you could close the door and get out, buddy.
Yeah, that's wild. So
You know what I think they should do? This is just my opinion. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. No one's talked about it. But just like you have to, and in many instances, you got to disclose certain ingredients on food. I think if you're a service provider, even if you're a mom and pop, you got to disclose if you're like private equity owned. I mean, it's looking like they're buying every little mom and pop, keeping the name. They'll have several different entities, same company. They're all making each other compete to raise the prices, and then go with whoever's the lowest one. But they're all owned by the same company. They should have to. I'm just saying, if you're private equity, they should make you disclose that, because if I want to deal with the mom and pop, I want to deal with the mom and pop. If I don't want to deal with a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, I don't want to deal with the multi-billion-dollar conglomerate.
You better watch your back, pal.
Just kidding.
I didn't mean that.
I kid.
No, but in all seriousness, I completely and utterly agree. I've seen it firsthand happen in front of my eyes, and I'm just like, you're taking something that is built across a man's lifespan and totally like changing the integrity of like everything that he has built.
Yeah.
and it's all the almighty dollar at the end of the day, that's what
Mhm.
kind of drives all this kind of stuff. And that's where like I'm going to like rise above. I'm going to keep spreading awareness that this is happening, and honestly, that's where I will persevere.
Yeah. I don't have an issue with it on the commercial side, but I
I
tell
don't
you
either.
what,
Honestly, it makes
yeah,
us look
commercial, I
great.
don't care. I deal with a lot of companies and and at the end of the day, even private equity hires some pretty good shops. And I know those people at those shops, but I don't feel the same way about residential letting, just having some multi-billion dollar company in my home. I just don't. I mean, but at the end of the day, my AC unit is a 2024 and I've replaced everything on it, the receiver, everything but the compressor, and I'm keeping it alive until I'm ready to change out the whole system and the ductwork. But because I know how to do that stuff, it's different between the regular consumer and whatnot. But yeah, when it comes to commercial, I'm going to do what's best for my company. And a lot of times, I'd say some of the best companies that I work with now are owned by private equity, but I knew them before they were bought by that private equity. They are still abiding by their mission, vision, values. I would say that when business falls, it's not going to fall necessarily on the customer. It's going to fall internally when they're too big for their britches and they need to make organizational changes. That's not on me. That's on what's going on in there. It's hard to see the mission, the vision, the values of Bob and Kelly's HVAC company being the same as a multi-billion dollar conglomerate. I just don't see that. So residential, I would feel some kind of way. The two people I've had look at my units, I know them personally. I know they're smaller businesses. I trust them. Commercial, definitely a different story. But I'm always keeping my eye out, and I'm always looking because knowing it whether or not they're private equity or not kind of gives you an idea of some of their won't say values, but some of their how do you say that? Their MO, I guess. Maybe not their MO. Can't find the words to describe, some of their motives. but yeah, that's my 2 cents about it.
I mean,
Awesome.
there was that wheel that was going around on social media a couple weeks ago about like 7 companies that own like 60% of like the home service companies. It was like insane. I was like, how does this work? I mean, and
Excuse me 1 second, guys.
complete honesty,
Yeah.
I mean, I work for private equity. I mean, but we're in a commercial space, and it is what I mean. I haven't had a problem with it, but I mean, we don't do home services, and we're not pushing
Yeah.
the sales. We're just taking care of our customer. I mean, that's what our focus is take care of our customer, and everything's kind of falls into place. And so I can't really complain about it.
Yeah, and the company you work for, I work with a couple different branches of theirs, and they rock. They're on point, But I know them down to the local level, and I can appreciate that. And that's a big reason why I don't like national accounts. If you're national, you better have a brick and mortar in my town. I'm not trying to call an office and then talk to somebody on the other side of the world or on the other side of the country. They have no idea what's going on in my town, what the environment's like, what the weather's like, what our seasons are like. They don't know what's going on, So yeah, a lot of people reach out to me and say, hey, I don't know if they think it's a flex. They're like, oh, we're national painters. We're national this, we're national that. I'm like, that does not mean anything to me other than you are far away and I cannot hold you accountable. That's what that means to me. It might have been a flex back in the day. It sure isn't for myself, being that I've worked in in-house. I've worked in in-house maintenance. I've worked in service, at a service company with a bunch of customers, and then being a regional facilities manager and whatnot. It's just like I've been on all these different sides, and it's like I know what I want, and unfortunately, people are taken for a ride with different people that aren't from your town. And at the end of the day, you got to vet people, and you got to know who they are. If I can't kick in your door, hypothetically speaking, I don't know where you sleep. I don't want to do business with you, man. You gotta be from here.
Yeah, I fully support that and agree with that. I mean, don't say you're national and then try to get your business, and then you're just picking some random sub to come in and do your business.
That is the other thing, the subs.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
Man.
They're
not vetting them out. I mean, there's someone that's doing the work for a cheaper rate, and I mean, it is what it is, but don't claim you're national and just send subs everywhere.
Yeah, well, I was dealing with a company here in Florida that is for all intents and purposes local, but every single job they sent me was a different sub, and I wasn't feeling that. It's just like, yo, you can't back up what you're doing locally. I mean, you're local supposedly, and then I found out they have a brick and mortar, but they're still national from out of town, so they still use subs. Like, what's the point of having a brick and mortar here if you're not going to hire some techs and actually have local guys here? You know, and then everyone wants to say, well, you know, with national accounts, we pay our subs in 10 days, or we pay them quickly, so you get the best service. It's like, but you never send the same guy back. And if it's not a first time fix, I'm not going to get the same guys. Like, no, I'll pay a little bit more to get the same company, the same guy locally, than to deal with whatever what's going on with having a bunch of subs or being a national account. It's not for me. It might be for some, but I don't see the value in it after all these years of dealing with different service providers, and then myself being one. It's like, you know. You good, brother?
Jason, what was your background? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I'm a facilities manager. I've been one for about 2.5 years. Prior to that, I worked for a service company for 8 years. The first 4 years, I was a technician, hot side, cold side. Then year 5 and 6, I was a trainer and a technician. And then the last 2 years, I was a plant maintenance manager for the state of Florida. I had about a dozen technicians at about 400 locations. We dealt with from fast serve to fine dining, anything hospitality related, installations, even some medical, grocery store. Just for the most part, I did hot side, cold side, refrigeration, electrical, steam, gas, electric, wash, everything. Everything. Gotcha. But a lot. I didn't do a lot of plumbing. And then before the service company, I worked for Steak and Shake right out of tech school. After I went to tech school, 2014, I was there for about 3 years, and that's where I cut my teeth. I had to learn everything. Like, and at the time, you know, they were like, just fix it. I'm like, all right, well, this unit's done. They're like, just fix it. So I learned quite a bit being with a company that wanted to be very frugal, which it was in-house. So that made a lot of sense. So about 10 years of being a technician before I went into being in facilities. And then 2010 to 2014, went to 2 tech schools. My wife joined the service after that first recession, the Obama years, 2008, 2009. My wife joined the service. We got stationed in Washington State. I was always in hospitality, customer service, retail, hotels, restaurants, car wash, anything customer service, retail, and hospitality. I absolutely love 2, 3, 4 jobs all the time. But then recession hit. My wife joined the service. We moved to Washington State, and then during those 4 years of her active duty, I went to school during the day, went to one college, got a degree in facility maintenance engineering for about 2.5 years. And then the latter half of that, I went to another college for HVAC and refrigeration. And then we landed back in Florida. And that's where I started Steak and Shake, my service company stuff. And then here I am, loving life as a facilities manager, having hospitality operational experience and then facilities repair experience on the other side. So I kind of had both experiences to kind of put me where I'm at now, to kind of understand what the service companies are where they're coming from and where the end customer is coming from as well.
Gotcha. Nice. That's actually what my father does. He just texted me now. He manages a school district. And handles all the he manages all the facilities there. He was an HVAC technician for a school district, so working on chillers, stuff of that nature. Pretty big stuff. It's kind of where I lack, actually.
Oh man, I think I love facilities. I absolutely love it. It's not like, it is a little bit of an office job, but I find myself working out of my truck. You know, I got my tech pants on, my tech uniform on, even though I'm a director, but I'm in stuff. You know, I'm up on the roof, I'm climbing in stuff, I'm verifying stuff, I'm taking things apart and whatnot. But I think that one of the things I noticed when the last job I had, my first real big facilities job, a lot of the facilities managers are more academic. A lot of them have a lot of book smarts. They college. If you look at a lot of the job descriptions, oh, we want a bachelor's and a master's. A lot of them have IFMA or RIFMA or facility certifications and stuff like that. A lot of facility managers that I know aren't. I won't say they're not technically savvy, but a lot of them don't have that hands-on technical experience. They are relying a lot on the trust and dignity of their service providers and stuff like that. Yeah, and I feel blessed that I went through the trenches the way I did to get to where I want, because I've always wanted to be here. I was trying to figure that out with the way I planned out my career, and I'm on that trajectory. But I just invaluable where the company I came from last, the changes I was able to make, the improvements I was able to make just based on my technical experience, and then being able to hold service providers accountable when I read their notes, because the weirdest thing is I love to read invoice. I love to read tech notes. I just love it. It's like reading a story because I can put myself in there. But at the same time, it also tells me very clearly what the technical prowess of their technicians are. I know right off the jump if this is a new person, if this is a medium person, or IFMA is the International Facilities Management Association, where RIFMA is Restaurant Facility Management Association. That was answering Rich's question. So IFMA is more on the Class A building engineer side, but obviously restaurant is for restaurant related facilities. I've been able to hold service providers accountable because I know exactly what they're saying, and then there's also times where it is a really good technician, but they just don't write very well, or they're just not great at articulating what they're trying to say in their notes.
That's the case.
Yeah.
So you're a technician at heart, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, they took me out of the van, man, but but I got my truck and I got a full set of tools. I mean, I got my torches up there. I got all my Vito bags. I got everything. I mean, I got all my tools. I got everything.
Yes, sir.
So, just to flex a little bit. Yeah, you can take me out of that van, man. You can take me out of that van, but I don't play, bro. When it comes to my technical stuff, I'll call you out quick.
Very nice.
His last place he was at, he would get on the roof of brand new restaurants and try to fix stuff or figure stuff out, and they were like, "What is this guy doing? Like, why is he on the roof?
Yeah,
why
it's not your job, Jason. Get back at the desk."
Yeah, well, halfway through, they were like, "Damn, we should let Jason cook. Let Jason cook."
Nice.
That's cool. That's cool. So it's always good to see people that want to do the right thing and do what's right for the customers. I mean, that's our whole thing, with Jason, with Rich. We just want to do the right thing and let everything else fall into place. People get. I understand it's a business; you got to chase money, but people get caught up trying to make more money off dumb stuff than just doing what's right and letting the cards fall.
There's plenty of money out there. And the bad thing is about service providers who are trying to nickel and dime people, I think a lot of them put themselves in that position. Sometimes you're just too big for your britches. Sometimes you just need to organically grow and do your thing. But when money is hey, we need to get to this certain dollar, we need to acquire all these stores, these businesses to do this. But at the end of the day, there is still more pie than there are people to eat that. I use that analogy. The pie is the end user. Hospitality, restaurants, hotels, resorts, anything that has an AC unit, everyone, right? So there's more pie than there is qualified, experienced people to do the work. So and in my opinion, there's really no reason to be as greedy as it appears to be in certain situations. That's just my opinion. I just think that there's plenty of work out there and whatnot. But if you're going to grow to the factor, you need to charge, $300 an hour, and you got to hold mom and pops over a barrel. And that's why I'm really picky on who I work with. I will, if the quality's good, the transparency's good, and I can trust you. I don't mind paying a little bit more if I can hold you accountable. If I know where you are, if I can pick up the phone and call you, and I'm going to talk to you and not some corporate person up north or across the country or on the other side of the world. It means a lot when we know we're not the biggest fish. We know that where we might have 4 units on our roof, the same manufacturer puts 30 on the roof of a major supermarket. When that major supermarket has, tens of, they got 40, 50, 100,000 locations. Yeah, we're not the biggest fish. We get that. So I think, like you said, when that bubble burst, if that's going to come, I think it'll be a come to Jesus moment, at the time. So we'll see how that rolls out for everyone on their end, which I think is going to hit internally more than it's going to hit the end user, because you can only squeeze so much blood out of a rock. You know what I'm saying? And what do? When you get too big and you can't take it out on the ends meet, you take it out, you cannibalize, unfortunately. So, and I've already been seeing that a little bit in certain areas. So, and that's just my opinion as a lonesome guy, in a small market doing my thing, representing my interest of the companies I work for and the people that I do consulting for. I try to give them the best advice I can, and let the chips fall where they fall. It's all about relationships, and there's plenty out there to work with, plenty of fish in the sea that can fix your unit. It's just a matter of who you trust. And that can be broken very quickly and healed very poorly. It'll take a long time to fix that.
You know what's hilarious? You say that. My dad's sending me tech notes as we speak because he's following along with the conversation. And he said,
yeah?
word of mouth is best, right?
Mhm.
And I totally agree. So I was telling Pat here that a year and 4 months ago I started. One truck, one guy. Now we got 2 trucks and 4 guys, and all through word of mouth. I have no marketing. I'm not on Google, nothing like that. We're busy Monday through Sunday, you know. And I truly believe that organic growth is what really makes a company successful, you know.
Love to have your dad on. Also,
Yeah. I would love to have him on. He's not much of a speaker, that guy, and he'll say it for himself. But
That's funny.
we'll have to use his tech notes to
Sorry,
type.
Dad.
He needs to be on the show and type in his tech notes, and we can put him on the screen just like we're putting Rich on the screen.
I
He can
wish he
participate.
could.
So Rich brought up a good point. He said a lot of these companies forget what made them grow in the first place, and they start to think too highly of themselves. And
Right.
I mean, there's a reason why that's is what it is. I mean, and even as individuals in text, we do the same thing. I mean, I have guys that just because they've done it for 40 years, they think they're the greatest thing out there. And I'm like, dude, I've got guys that have been doing it 4 years that can walk all over you. I mean,
It's all about, and I say this all the time because I keep bringing my dad into this, but he's the reason why I'm in this field. He's like, I got his backing behind everything he tells me is, I've been in this field for 30 years. I'm like, yeah, Dad, I've been in it for 7 years, and I put more time, energy, and effort into all of this to be smarter and outpace you at 30 years, buddy.
When the camera turns off, you're gonna get it.
sounds like me and my son going back and forth at work, man.
A big inspiration for what I do is my dad. He was a master cabinet maker and a carpenter. Aside from being a very strict Pentecostal preacher growing up, but that man is one of the hardest working men I've ever known. Now, I didn't want to do carpentry or cabinet making, but I did see him always work for himself. I've always seen him do work for different people. And always the same integrity and work that he's done for him. He built everything in our homes as we grew up, but he's always put that love and respect and integrity into the work he does for other people as well.
Same with my father, and he completely inspired me to do the great things I'm doing today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you talked about you set that price for your PMs, your preventative maintenance. How scary was doing that versus the people out there charging $55, $75? I mean, you said what, $225, $255 is what you're charging. I mean, that had to be scary. Like, no, this is what I got to do. But I mean, why did you pick that? Or I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, you picked a number, but you have to make your actions behind it work and show that it's deserving of that number, I guess.
Yeah, that number is high for PMs, but so I guess what he's asking is it brass tacks?
I understand what he's asking. I love that question, and here's how I back it up, right? my customer gets a full service, right?
Yeah.
You see all my competitors or whoever I'm competing with. I don't compete with anybody at the end of the day, but I see all these billboards everywhere. 79.99, 89.99, 199 cents, all this other stuff. I'm like, at the end of the day, they're coming there to kick some tire and sell you on something,
Yeah.
guys. With my price, and I don't even call my PM a PM. It's not. I call it a maintenance. This is a maintenance. This is a full
This is a
service maintenance.
service.
This
Yeah.
is a service. It's not a PM. It really isn't even a maintenance. It's a service. I come there, somebody who's charging the lesser amount, are they coming there to fully figure out what could potentially be wrong with your system on upcoming seasons? Are they at the end of the day? Because as my customer, you're an extension of my family, and I don't want to hear from you on the hottest day of the freaking year, unfortunately. You know what I'm saying? In May, when you call me out for my PM, I'm going to take care of all those issues up front with you right then, right there. It's not going to be an emergency. If you're my customer, it's never an emergency because I've already seen your problems coming before you have to deal with them, right? Whether that be I'm doing a PM on a residential or a commercial customer and I'm cleaning that coil. And I look at your contactors on your 15-year-old system. I'm like, listen, two of your contactors here are about to be smoked this season. Let's go ahead. Let's replace them now.
Mm-hmm.
It really comes down to you're not selling the service, you're really selling yourself at the end of the day. I
Yeah.
mean, I have my customers' interests, at heart, and I advise them. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to force you to do a maintenance with me,
Yeah. Well, and
so
the customer realizes at that price, you're not there to sell them something. You're there to provide a service.
to get a job done.
Yeah, and I mean, and I think a lot of people have caught on that most of these low bears are just people coming there just to try to push something and sell something and shove something down their throat.
I get so many follow-ups from people who go out and they tell them all this malarkey, and I come and as an investigator, I come and tell them what the truth of the matter is, and I solve the problem at the end of the day, no matter what the price is.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at with the PMs. You hear, $215. You're like, oh my God, rinse my pockets. It really isn't like that when you don't have to spend $700 on the hottest day of the year and you can't get a technician out.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I firmly believe, and that's why I get what I ask from my customers. It's because I give them what they ask for, peace of mind.
Yep.
At the end of
Well,
the day,
you don't seem to be hurting for customers, so it's working for you. So that's all.
that's what
That's all that
all my
matters.
customers are word of mouth.
Yeah, that's
All
cool.
of them.
That's awesome.
And it's created a chain for me.
So Rich brought up another point. He said most companies price PM work wrong. They price it as a loss leader to try to gain more business. We price our PM as a standalone service revenue source. We are higher on PM as well. So
no, I don't base my company off of my PM contracts, right?
yeah, that's always
So
kind of weird because I mean, just
my
because
customers call me for the PMs. Put it to you that way. You know what I'm saying?
I do very few PMs, but the ones I do, like my office is like, oh, you should be doing this faster. I'm like, no. I was like, we're providing a service for this customer. They expect that service. I'm gonna do that service. And guess what? That customer only calls me. They only want me in there. They don't want anybody else in there. And I'm gonna do whatever it takes to take care of that customer. That's why when I did a PM and I found he had a trip breaker for his garbage disposal, and I was like, hey, I diagnosed. I was like, hey, dude, you got a bad garbage disposal. He's like, well, send me a price for a new one. It was like a $10,000 garbage disposal, and he's like, he just proved it on the spot. He's like, okay, change it. I was like, okay.
Cool. See, that is trust and integrity right there. That's what that is.
So what's next for you? What are you trying to do? What's some of the goals for your crew over at ESG?
I'm very passionate about this field. Someday, I personally want to be a figurehead in this space, and I portray that to the guys that work with me. Right. At the end of the day, I try to elevate every single day. Right. Show up, do better. Show up, do better. And at the end of the day, as a leader, it falls on me. So if I'm not showing up on time and I don't have a nice haircut and my face isn't shaved and it looks like I just don't take my life, never mind my job, seriously, you know what I'm saying? People
I
Mhm.
like that.
follow that energy. When you have a winning spirit and you're just out there to absolutely dominate and just do great things,
I
it-
like
it's con-
that.
it's contagious, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of like me being sick and sneezing on somebody. They're gonna catch it,
Yeah.
you know.
That's a good way to
So,
put it. I've never heard that, and I like that. I'm gonna use that now.
so I mean, it all comes down to proper education. I took it upon myself about 5 years ago. I had this freaking awakening. Like, nobody's doing it for you. It's time to get smarter or fall behind with the rest of them.
Mhm.
And I dove into deep self thought, self growth, and self education. And I ended up finding myself educating myself better than the past years of schooling I've had by myself because I took accountability for it. Right. And I try to portray that upon the people that work with me. And everybody, it is contagious, like I was saying. Like, everybody who ends up working with me, they do better for themselves, and I get excited because I'm like, finally you've awoken that spirit of like winning, you know what I'm saying, just winning in general. So I mean, not only that, all the education I like spreading, I send my guys videos every night. Hey, watch this is going to pertain to what we're doing at work tomorrow,
Nice.
right? And then if you finish that video, I have one more for you. Stuff like that. Eventually, I would love to, just like yourself, Pat, I would love to be an educator when it comes to this field because I am so passionate about it at the end of the day. So I just want to spread the love for the freaking field. I'm not out here. I'm not, you know what's funny? My motive, it's not money. Money's not the motive. I want to make this trade the best it's ever been
Mhm.
moving forward. Someday, hopefully, I invent some crazy thing that heats and cools air differently than we've seen standardly, right? Those are my aspirations. I truly believe that, and that's kind of really it.
Love
Nice,
that.
nice. Yeah, that's a good take on everything, man. I just want to leave it better than I found it. This career, this industry has changed my life in ways I didn't think it would be possible. I mean, I worked my butt off to get where I'm at, but there's tons of opportunities that I've been given from what I've done. And it seems like you have that same outlook. You're like, you're just gonna keep working and do what you gotta do. And the outcomes will be there. But sometimes you just gotta make them for yourself, man.
At the end of the day, you know, when you pursue everything I just talked about, the byproduct of that is success, right?
Hmm.
If you keep following that path of just trying to do better for yourself, and then if you have time making others better and just keep moving and rolling that ball, you have no option but the byproduct to be success in whatever you're doing. It doesn't have to be HVAC, right?
Hmm.
It could be electrical, plumbing, non-trades related stuff.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it's just an outlook at the end of the day, in my opinion.
Yep,
So
100%. All right, man. We are over an hour. I got one last question. So, what does building the industry the right way mean to you?
what does building the industry the right way mean to you? That's a loaded question, Pat.
I think we've covered it several times over today.
I think we
Um,
have, but I'll go over it one more time for you.
let's do it.
I think personally, when it comes to building the industry, it all has to do with your predecessors. I think it has to do with the people who are following you up and someday taking your job and properly educating them and training them into being a beast and an asset to this industry, right? So we
Nice,
can't be here forever. I think you leave it behind with whoever's wanting to learn it.
nice. It's a good
So
outlook.
leave it better than you found it.
That's it. And that's exactly what Pat said.
So, where can everyone find you? Find Elite Service Group. Where are you located? Where are you service? Now's your chance to plug you, your crew, your company. Let's get it out there, man.
Okay. So I've been working on this for a long time now. I'm teamed up. I have a gentleman named Nick on my team. He's a fantastic guy. He's been building all my social medias. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Facebook, as far as my HVAC content comes. So if you're a customer and you want to be further educated on your HVAC system, whether you're a property manager or anything like that, we are on all platforms at Elite Service Group. We service all of New Jersey. So if you're looking for residential, light commercial, or refrigeration services, we are located in New Jersey. You can look us up on Facebook. Um, Other than that, that's really it. I wasn't here to really plug anything, just to have a great conversation with a couple cool guys.
I
You
always give
mentioned
everybody.
podcast.
And we got my podcast too. That thing's been doing pretty good. I
What's it called?
focus it's the Elite Service. It's the Unfiltered Podcast, the Elite Service Group's Unfiltered Podcast, where we educate the customer primarily, and then we have a couple tech talks when it comes to technicians joining the field. I kind of give insight of like what that kind of looks like when you're getting into it. So that's our podcast, the Unfiltered Podcast.
I like that. Are you on LinkedIn?
I am on LinkedIn. I've been lacking on building my LinkedIn, but I promise you guys within
You,
the
be-
next
you,
couple months,
you better get on
Please.
there. Don't be
we're
That's
slacking
going to
on.
get it there.
Don't be sleeping
that's
on LinkedIn.
yeah. Don't sleep on LinkedIn, man.
Yeah.
So, all right, fellas.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming
Jay,
on, taking some time, spending the evening with us. I know we had quite a bit of technical difficulties between me and you and Jason coming in late, but this is what it's all about:
Traffic.
having genuine, honest conversations with people that want to make the industry better, do what's right for the customer, and in the long run, you're going to make money. So I appreciate it, man.
thank you guys.
See ya.